Welcome back, folks, to the Lighthead Online Video Show. This episode of the show is brought to you by Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com, baby, KeystoneTech.com. Greg, light made easy, the retrofit kings.
That's right. Now they have a lot of fixtures as well. They have vapor-tight fixtures, troughers, everything. Take a look at them for retrofits and fixtures.
Go to KeystoneTech.com. What do you want to talk about today? Color rendering index or something?
Well, whatever it's called nowadays. So we were at the IES conference and we got firsthand experience, which we'll touch on this new metric called the TM30. And why is it called TM30, Mike?
TM stands for Technical Memorandum, and it's because these engineering lighting dorks over at the IES like to call things TM-30. This is our 30th Technical Memorandum.
I love it. You'd think there'd be a cooler name than that, but that is a legit reason. Because
why don't they call it something like Color Rendering Index Part 2 or something?
The new CRI?
Yeah, or something. Just don't confuse everybody.
So, as we know, the standard system to measure color quality was CRI, and that was on a 0 to 99 scale, or 100. And now this is TM30, and we had a discussion on it. We dove into it, and now we're just going to try to break it down for ourselves and for you guys listening because it is confusing. There's really three characteristics to it, and there's a chart that might be shown on screen here. That outlines them. It's the color preference, the color vividness, and the color fidelity. So that's a little more advanced, as you can already hear, than a CRI. That's just a number. There's three different things you have to measure, and on that chart you can see there's, within each of them, three choices. And they have the RF factor and RGs and all that other stuff that looks pretty sciencey. So color preference. I'm going to read this for you because I don't have this memorized. Is a design intent applies to situations where creating a pleasing, natural-looking environment is important. And the specifications use the three TM30 measurements. RF is average color fidelity, RG is gamut area, and RCSH1 is chroma shift for nominally red objects. So that's color preference. All right, that's one category. Then you go to color vividness. Its design intent includes minimum thresholds for RG and that same RCSH1. And the color vividness design provides guidance on how to make a scene appear vibrant, but does not take into account whether that vibrancy will be considered pleasing. Such a combination can be found in the overlap. So you can see that there. And then the last one is the color fidelity. That focuses on achieving similar color appearance at equal illuminance relative to the spectrum of the reference illuminant, which generally speaking is either a phase of daylight or an incandescent-like spectrum at the same correlated color temperature as the light source in question. Two measures are used. That's the RF and the RFH1, the red color fidelity. Again, with a particular importance of red. Now, when we were at the IES conference, they had a whole room dedicated to this to try to explain it and show it to us. And it's almost one of those things where it's difficult to explain, but once you see it, it makes sense. They had a shelf full of groceries on it, and they would show a red box, and that's really where it was a Ritz cracker box, I think, and you could really see it punch on different levels. So what is your opinion on this whole thing, Mike? This TM30 action.
Well, the first problem is going to be the idea of reconstructing all the tables where CRI is inserted as the metric which governs the quality of the light. Mm-hmm. Right? So you go to a lighting catalog or you go online, you look up a light bulb and it says it's this long, it's this base, it's this color, it's this CRI, it's this, right? So we're talking like, forget about whether or not this system works and whether or not this system can be deployed en masse to the lighting industry, because those are two different questions. Okay?
Yes.
Think about how the industry is going to digest this from a database perspective.
You heard how I tried to digest it. I had to read it and look down and continue to read because I still don't quite understand it. So how do you sell that?
Right. So it's interesting. Like Tony Esposito, PhD, explained this to us, and maybe he should start his own podcast on color because he could probably do 10 shows just on color, and just continually hammer this home. The problem is you've taken one number, which you can tell your sales rep high is good, low is bad. The higher the better. And he can run around selling light bulbs and say, it's 82 CRI, it's 92 CRI, to where you have a PhD scientist explaining mathematics to you and probability theory and the Nintendo Sega Genesis 64 up the wazoo with the preference stuff. This is pretty complicated stuff. So we take the fact that all the databases of the lighting industry need to be updated with this new metric. What is the new metric that they're going to update it to? Does every light source need this chart beside it with highlights in it of what it is?
I think so. I think that's what it's going to have to be, right? And they're going to have to, because what I understand is you pick one of those preferences. It's a P1, P2, or P3. Same with the vividness, V1, V2, V3, and fidelity, F1, F2, F3. And there is not necessarily one being better than the other. It depends on the application and what you're trying to light.
Right.
So what does that tell me? That I need to sample every single damn light I'm selling now to make sure it's the right color for you? Somebody needs to pick. Somebody needs to find what good is, because we can't.
Look, if I can't tell, so like, I consider myself open to intellectual ideas. Okay? I consider myself open to things, but I have a very strong aversion to complexity. I don't like complex systems. And this feels too complex for 90% of the lighting industry.
When you see it, though, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Like
see it
that demonstration that Tony Esposito gave us at the IS event was the best demonstration I've ever seen at any lighting show, hands down. I think this metric is fantastic for people who are into the science of lighting and who are into are engineer level educated. Tony's a PhD. And people that like high-end lighting designers. Okay? Right. So if there's no lighting designer in the project, I think TM30 is going the way of the dinosaur. And people are going, how does it look? It looks good. What CRI is it? Don't know, bro. Figure this document. It's P1, V3, F1. What?
I feel like CRI is going to stay. I think CRI is going to stay just because it's easy. And then, sure, they might get into this too. It's going to be like a secondary color quality.
Exactly.
Like, you really want to know how good this color is? Check out this thing, man.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You know why I think CRI is going to stay? So if you read, there's a guy out there named Nicholas Nassim Taleb, and he's like I don't know what the hell he is. He's like a egotistical logician or something, but he's super smart. He has a lot of good books. He wrote The Black Swan and Fooled by Randomness and Anti-Fragile and a couple other ones, right? But he taught one of the principles in, I think, his book Anti-Fragile is that what is older will last longer. It's a principle.
Yeah.
So books will never be replaced by digital because books are better because books have lasted longer. And that's just the principle of life. Whatever lasts a long time tends to continue to last, and whatever is new tends to be replaced a lot. Right? So I think what the lighting industry is gonna go through is someone's going to introduce TM30. There's going to be a bunch of lighting dorks at the top that get really upset because no one is going to take TM30 and everyone's going to want to know the CRI of everything. Okay? And then eventually TM30 is going to be abandoned because it's too complicated. And
or
CRI
it'll just stay in the background.
Or it'll stay in the background. Or they'll do another TM46 will come out and it's like, we just need one number, man.
Technical measurement 46.
Yeah, and it's like, because the problem with this is, like, when he explained it to me, I got it. But now that I forgot, now it's been 2 weeks, I forgot it. I'm like, how does this work again? What's this? P1? Oh, sometimes you don't need preference one. You need what? It's based on what? It's based on, see, the problem with this scale, it's based on what you think the customer wants in terms of color quality, combined with the color red as the key color which needs to be adjusted, along with visual acuity. Right? Isn't it something like that?
Something like that. There's more than one factor at play here, obviously,
right?
as you can see from the chart.
And when someone demonstrates the various different combinations, right? I could see a high-end retailer, like if if a high-end retailer came along and said, I really want to make my store sell stuff better, I could see them buying into, a lighting designer who really had a deep understanding of TM30. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
But the average guy on the counter buying a light bulb, I don't think so, bro. And I think it's for the same. Like, there's a lot of Americans that understand kilometers, and that understand probably 1 million Americans, maybe 5 million.
Is that a fact there?
I don't know. Just like, but
Okay.
You know what? Everybody, kilometers is better than miles, right?
Yeah.
It's not even that much more complicated. It's actually simpler.
The metric system would make more sense, I think. I agree with that.
Right.
It's a whole other.
But actually, I think this is reversed. I think the CRI system is simpler and makes more sense to people that aren't all that into perfection. I want something that renders color good, and I want it to be 5,000K. Okay, here you go. That's what's going to stick with the average lighting salesperson out there.
Sure.
This has been the Lighthead Online Video Show, brought to you by Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com, baby. Light made easy. The Retrofit Kings with new fixtures now as well.